The United States Postal Service, USPS, is one of the most vital institutions in American society, providing affordable and reliable mail services to every corner of the country. Despite occasional financial struggles, calls to privatize the USPS are not only misguided, but would lead to disastrous consequences for millions of Americans. The very foundation of USPS is built on accessibility, affordability, and public service, values that a privatized postal system would likely abandon in favor of profit-driven motives. One of the biggest arguments against privatization is the essential nature of USPS's universal service obligation. Unlike private delivery companies, which cherry-pick the most profitable routes and leave rural or low-income areas underserved, USPS is legally required to deliver mail to every address in the country, no matter how remote. Privatizing the post office would likely eliminate this obligation, leaving millions of Americans, particularly those in rural communities, without dependable and affordable mail service. If mail delivery becomes a purely for-profit enterprise, less profitable areas would either face sky-high prices or be left out entirely. Another major concern is cost. USPS keeps prices relatively low and predictable because it is not driven by profit, unlike private carriers that charge higher fees for basic services. Privatization would open the door to price hikes, hidden fees, and surcharges that would disproportionately affect lower-income households. If private corporations take over mail delivery, consumers will likely pay significantly more for the same services they currently receive at a reasonable rate. Job loss and worker exploitation would also be inevitable under privatization. USPS employs over 600,000 workers, many of whom enjoy strong labor protections, decent wages, and benefits that are the result of unionized efforts. If the post office were privatized, these protections would be at risk. Private companies often cut costs by reducing wages, cutting benefits, and increasing workloads, leading to worse working conditions for postal employees. The same workers who have dedicated their lives to ensuring Americans receive their mail on time could find themselves facing layoffs, pay cuts, or exploitative work environments. Security and reliability would also take a hit if USPS were privatized. The post office isn't just about delivering birthday cards and bills. It plays a key role in secure document delivery, legal communications, and even national security. USPS has built-in safeguards to protect sensitive information and ensure that mail gets to its destination without interference. A privatized postal service might not have the same level of accountability, increasing the risk of lost, stolen, or mishandled mail. Small businesses, which rely heavily on USPS's affordable and predictable shipping services, would also be severely impacted. Unlike private couriers that charge premium rates for package delivery, USPS provides an affordable option for small business owners who need to send products across the country. If privatization were to occur, shipping costs could skyrocket, putting small businesses at a severe disadvantage while benefiting large corporations that can absorb the costs. The argument that privatization would somehow make USPS more efficient is also flawed. The Postal Service's financial struggles are largely due to an unfair 2006 congressional mandate requiring USPS to pre-fund retiree health benefits for 75 years, a requirement that no private company or government agency is forced to meet. This artificial financial burden has created the illusion of inefficiency, when in reality, USPS operates without taxpayer dollars and still manages to serve over 160 million addresses 6 days a week. Rather than privatization, the real solution is legislative reform that allows USPS to function without the unnecessary constraints placed upon it. USPS also plays an irreplaceable role in democracy. The service ensures that people across the country can vote by mail, receive critical government documents, and communicate without relying on the internet, which remains inaccessible to many Americans. Privatization could jeopardize this role by prioritizing profit over public service, potentially leading to increased fees or reduced access that could disproportionately harm marginalized communities. The bottom line is that USPS is more than just a mail service. It is a public good that serves every American, regardless of their income, location, or political affiliation. Privatization would only serve corporate interests, leaving the most vulnerable members of society without a reliable way to send and receive mail. If we want to protect an institution that has served the American people for centuries, we must resist efforts to privatize it and instead push for reforms that allow USPS to continue fulfilling its mission.